Oh, you won't believe this, I'm making this video for the third time. First one was rubbish, rambling too much. Second one, I didn't press record. So, hopefully this is gonna be alright. Anyways, previous video has shown you the flexible cold intake system we do for the MR2s. Now, yeah, I'm gonna quickly show you this stainless one, but this is not the topic. The topic of this video is that I want to expand, literally expand, on the cold intake system, and because there's one problem with this. Now, with the system itself, no problems at all. All the benefits, you already explain why you should have a blah blah, what the benefits are, the tests we've done. This is how it looks like. It's not complete because there is a mount here. I'm waiting for the material to finish it. However, this is actually not the one that you see. This is the prototype. This is the one I used to, mock it up and work out the production line. Hence, another joiner here and everything. The final product is cleaner. Joins here with another piece of silicone pipe because it needs to be flexible at this part of the engine, and then in the turbo, and that's it. Anyways, why I want to expand on the topic of the cold intake systems. Well, there is one problem with this. This is suitable only until 3-inch intake. It's not a restriction. Now, 3-inch intakes, they can be not restrictive for quite a lot of power, especially on the KO4 hybrids and other stuff. That's more than fine. More than fine. It's not going to be restriction, either the pipe or the size of the filter. However, we had a few customers saying, well, what about if I'm going to run something bigger? Well, if you run something bigger, obviously that's not suitable. And this is where we get with my probe. I'm going to use my car as an example and explain it. If you're building something like this, like in my case, VR5, VR6, actually, regardless of the engine, that could be 1.8. I mean, great example is Steve's engine. That fucking makes over 600 brakes, 1.8. To make that sort of power on any engine, you need a bigger turbo. And obviously, most of these bigger turbos, they have 4-inch compressor intake, like in this case here, for example. And I made a video previously to show you where I put my air filter and how I do it. And people were saying, well, some of the people, most of you understand, some didn't, asking why, if you preaching that we should have the air filter outside the engine bay to avoid obviously sucking in hot air into the compressor, have it separated and sucking out just fresh air outside the engine bay, hence obviously the kit. Why are you using this way? Well, because simply a 4-inch will not fit in the same way. I mean, 3-inch is fairly tight. Yeah, there is plenty of space, but 4-inch will not fit, period. I don't have a space for that. So either way, there's going to be compromises. So I would rather compromise the temperature and having enough airflow. So no restricting the airflow to the turbo, to the compressor, because that's going to kill the power, is going to kill the efficiency and everything. It will be beneficial to have a cold air, obviously. I don't have the luxury, and sometimes you just don't have it, period. So in my case, what I did, I've tried to bring through those two 3-inch pipes through this vent. You can see they there. I don't know if you can see them or not. Lighting is a bit shit here. I've tried to bring some of that airflow, fresh airflow, to my air filter. Unfortunately, because we've tested these vents and we proven, where we've seen, we find out they actually don't flow as much air to the engine bay as everyone was thinking, including ourselves. There isn't much help from those pipes, so I'm not really happy with this solution, as probably you're not. But where else are you gonna put it? And I'm quite lucky because I'm running intake cooler instead of the charge cooler. Intake cooler obviously is in the front of the car, so yeah, big job because you have to run the pipes, blah blah, but it allows me to use this space which otherwise will be taken by the charge cooler. And this is probably still the best space to put the air filter if you have to put the air filter inside the engine bay. And if I wasn't so lucky, if I had to use the charge cooler, I would have to put it in even worse position. And again, If that is the only position, then yes, you can try to separate it from the heat from the exhaust, for example, from the turbo or whatever. Try to bring some fresh air from the outside with some ducting. You know, you name it. You're trying to find a solution for a problem that you cannot be sorted 100%. The only way to sort it up 100% is to use that ducting and bring the air completely from outside the engine bay, which in this case 4-inch pipe just wouldn't fit. Well, and that's the news. I'm gonna show you. This is a good news because this guy is gonna have it. This VR6 turbo is gonna have it, and a lot of other people are gonna have it. I'm just gonna show you. There you go. Ta-da! A massive big ass air filter. This, trust me, this is not gonna be restriction, and that 4-inch pipe is not gonna be a restriction. Goes all the way around and straight to the turbo. So the turbo, the compressor, only receives nice fresh air from outside the car. That's just perfect. So, you know, we have the good of both worlds, even on the giant turbo, no problems. Now, you say, how does it fit? You say it doesn't fit. Yeah, I know, I was wrong, period. Now this pipe fits just, it touches everywhere, but not pushing on anything. You see, it fits there without pushing. It means it touches in many places, but it doesn't squeeze the pipe in at any point of the road. It does around the chassis and inside the wing. That is absolutely great. And again, this, for example, is nothing. It's just put it on for the illustrations. This will have to go higher because obviously away from the exhaust, blah, blah, you know, trying to make it nice. This has to be fixed here because if the engine moves, you don't want this to rub against this and break it off, blah, blah. You know the drill. But this is great. Now, the downside. It's always a downside. But with the 3-inch, there's no downside whatsoever. There's no other modifications you have to do besides trimming the vent a little bit. This one here, because you see that goes inside, and you got the air filter here. Anyways, the problem with this is this. Not the filler cap itself, because the cap goes in and everything. The pipe rests on the pipe. This pipe on the filler, on the fuel pipe. Jesus, I'm rambling again. It pushes it gently down, so it's probably lower by a few mil, not much, pretty much almost in the same standard position. The problem is the funnel, the original funnel, the plastic greases, whatever, this section here, including this. Now, the plastic bit, I took it off to show you. This fits on, I'm gonna show you on this one here. This is fixed on the panel. 3 screws goes in there, and when you put the quarter, you put it back on, it slides literally with this, slides over there. That's it, and it keeps it in place, all nice and tight. You know, no spillages, nothing. This is how it works. It's okay. That is actually not a problem because you can just trim that part and it will still fit. Yes, you're correct. However, this isn't the only problem. The other part of this is this hinge. As you can see, the hinge, when you close it, it goes in and it needs space. We don't have that space. With a 3-inch, like that, you see how much space is there? Sorry, there, no problems. 4-inch, nope. Actually, this is supposed to be removed completely. So, problem, solution. To me, it isn't a big problem, and I think for you either. For me, because we already have a mounting points, and this is completely round, very simple. What if I make an aluminium adapter, just a plate, laser cut, or whatever, I'm gonna come up with something, that has the adapter to put one of those aeronautic or motorsport or race grade or race looking filler caps. You know, period. It's simple. You can have them in different ways. You can have them with the, you know, quick push in like a 24-hour Le Mans filler caps. You just push it in with the spring loaded and it opens. You can have them kind of this style. You can have them aeronautic ones like in motorbikes. You can have them with the locker. So you need a key to look. Loads of options. You know, once you have the adapter, there's loads of options to do it. And I think this is, okay, it could be a slight negative, but it's so small that the positives are, you know, is still greater than the negatives. And to be honest, for me, I'm more than okay for this. Of course, there's going to be a lot of people who wants everything standard, Lugi standard, everything. But, you know, if you need a big 4-inch like that pipe to your turbo to not be restrictive, means you're need a lot of power. Then a small modification like this, even if you don't like it aesthetically, I don't think it's going to be something that's going to stop you. It's not going to be a deal breaker. So I think that is a decent solution for something that me, Steve, this guy, you know, this customer, and a lot of other people were not happy about, because this induction kit was great, 3-inch, until you go in big power with the big turbos. Then, you know, you cannot use it. But now you can. So to recap everything, now we have a 3-inch this style induction kit for the turbo, for the compressor. We have the stainless one, which I finished the production line yesterday. And as a matter of fact, I've produced 4 of them yesterday. They're ready to be shipped, almost ready to be shipped. I'm waiting for the mounting points, because again, running out of material, I have to make them. And we have this one too, the 4-inch induction, which fits. Again, with this one, you have to know that you have to modify your fillet cap. That's something you have to do, but it is an option. Now, I know probably the next question is going to be, well, if you're making 2 versions, flexible and stainless, for the 3-inch, can you make the same options for the 4-inch? Yes, I could, but no, I won't. A simple reason for that is this is tight. Flexible pipe means that it can actually find its perfect way, you know, where the space is tight. And if I have to do it in stainless, aluminium or titanium or whatever, it is possible. Hell of a work, because it has to be precise exactly there. It's not worth it. It will cost so much money that no one will buy it. Plus, I wouldn't want to do it anyway, because it's pointless. I don't, you know, if you ask me to do something pointless just because you want it, I'm still not willing to do it, because, yeah, anyways, unless you want to overpay it for it, and maybe, but I don't see the sense of it. Again, these are not restrictive. They won't collapse. The stainless wire inside is very kind of spring-loaded. They're very sturdy, actually, let me show you. Because if you say, okay, but what's the difference between 3-inch and 4-inch? Not that much, come on, 3, 4, roughly the same, slightly bigger. Well, you may be surprised. Let me show you. The difference between 3-inch and 4-inch is this. 4-inch looks like almost like twice the size. This, yeah, is a huge difference. If you're thinking about numbers, it doesn't look like that much of a difference, but when you see them physically, yeah, it looks twice. So you can see even outside how bigger that is. I still can't believe that 4-inch it squeezes there. And yes, I had a quarter. I've done the work on this yesterday with the plastics. And this is another thing. The inner arch, the inner fender, if you want to call it this way, plastic, has to be there, because obviously this prevents the water from the wheel to go on your air filter. You can't leave it this way. If you don't have the original one, sorry for a sec. I was a compressor, sorry. So if you don't have the original plastic of the inner fender, at least put some of it, some shielding to prevent obviously the water going to the air filter, because I don't think I have to explain why you shouldn't run nothing there and having the water spraying the air filter. So yeah, that's good news, really good news. So we have all 3 options now. This is really good news for myself as well. Now, there is another, this is kind of off topic, but not, it's still related. For example, it's more related to people who want to run VR6 or VR5 turbo engines, and you kind of do it on sort of a budget. There's a lot of people who made a really decent power on pretty much standard setup. So for example, standard engine, or just the compression plate, which is very quick and easy to do it. You put a bigger turbo because you have to run bigger turbos on this. Don't go small, thinking you just need that little power. It's going to be choking the engine up. Bigger turbo, always. Anyways, you want to do it on the budget. So the difference between the VR6 and VR5 Volkswagen engines against the 1.8 primarily comes from the engine management, from the ECU. Those ECUs for the 1.8s, they are quite capable. There are a lot of people running a lot of power, 500-600 brakes, even more on the standard ECU. Now, from the information we have, I think those ECUs, they're good for up to 400-500 brakes. Again, we're not talking ECU features as the safety modes and all the stuff. They're not going to have the same features as the good aftermarket ECUs, but they're quick enough, they're good enough to run that sort of power and manage that sort of power fairly safely. But they run on the MAF sensor, on the MAP sensor, and lambda sensors primarily. Temperature sensor, obviously, inside the intake too. The VR6 and the VR5, they don't have the MAP sensor. The MAP sensor is quite important once you go in turbo. MAF sensor is not really that great on the turbo engines. I'm not saying it's problematic, but it's just not as good as a MAP sensor. The 7.1, which is the early version of the ECUs and the Volkswagen used to use, they use them on the VR5 and VR6. Don't run MAP sensor. You cannot adapt them to run a MAP sensor as far as we know, so you have to keep the MAF sensor. Now the MAF sensor, which is this one here, actually this is the VR6 MAF sensor, sorry. It's a 3-inch inside, which again, NA non-turbo, perfect, fine. Once you have a turbo, then you have something like this. You can't because it will be restrictive. Again, we're going to have the same problem. Even if you have a big pile of this, you know, it's 3-inch MAF sensor. So what people do, again, kind of a budget setup on a standard ECU, is to fit MAF sensors inside a bigger housing. So you can make a custom. You can have the MAF sensor fitment, like a weld-on bolts, welded to a 4-inch. I think I have them. I definitely have them somewhere. I just don't remember where. It doesn't matter, fuck it, doesn't matter for now. But you can fit those sensors actually here. So this is another solution for VR6, VR5 turbo application on the budget standard ECU, and you still benefit from the cold intake, even if you have a MAF sensor, because there is enough space here to fit the MAF sensor here. Because even that, you can see I have a piece of aluminium pipe to transition between the air filter, obviously, and the intake pipe. So yeah, that's kind of unrelated, but it is related. Good news on everything. And I think that's it about the cold intake. This is great. This is great. I'm really happy because again, I was looking for the solution for this, obviously this setup, and whatever I came up with, I wasn't happy because we know how much of a difference makes. Like Steve said, it is better hotter air but enough flow than colder air and not enough flow. That is true. What's better is cold air and enough airflow. This case, we achieve all of that. We have enough flow, we have just cold air, completely separated from the engine bay. Great. What else? That's it. I think that's it. Yes, you need to do some, I think it's little modification. I mean, modifying that filler cap, come on, it's not a big deal, is it? It'll be fine. I think this is it. As a upgrade for the business, because, you know, I'm almost every time asking you to be patient for the people, order the stuff, you know, we're still building the business up. We took on much more than we were supposed to. It's done. Everything has been built up, all the jigs, all the templates, everything is ready for production. The last part is actually today, but the big last part was yesterday with those intakes. I can produce them because, to my surprise, after I introduced the flexible, cheaper version, I was convinced that everyone was gonna go for that cheaper version, and then Steve proved me wrong. Because listen, most people, actually about 60% of people, still order the stainless ones. Okay, that was a big surprise. I had to come out with, you know, because I was like, if someone ordered it, I'll make it one-off, kind of custom. I don't mind once or twice per year. But if I have to produce them kind of mass-produced, there has to be a production line, and which I finished yesterday. As a matter of fact, the four setups I built for the customers, they already sold because we're behind with the orders. They came out from the new production line. I'm happy with them, really happy with them. Now we also have the exhaust systems. Now they're going out the production line. They are exactly the same. There's no custom job involved in that. Everything comes out of the jigs, out of the templates. But this is another thing that is probably at least 40% of you guys, well, customers, who wants the bumper exit like this. So today what I'm doing, actually, after I finish the video finally, this is the third attempt, making the jig to make that. On that note, if you want a bumper exit, you have to drill a hole in the bumper, plastic and the metal bit behind it. And bear in mind, these bumpers, they're not strong on their own. And if you do something like this, is for example the 4-inch, right? So the standard ones are going to be 3-inch, slightly smaller. So the hole there can be slightly smaller, but still you're going to weaken this part even more. Now, a lot of people put a different bumpers, you know, like tubed ones or whatever, no problem. But standard one, yes, you can reinforce it, you can make a bridge over here, you can still make it as strong as it was before, but you have to know, if you just cut the hole there, you know, this clearly is not going to be as strong as it was before. And it wasn't so strong before either, so just keep that in mind. So yeah, today I'm making kind of small changes to the jigs and templates to produce two versions. Bumper exit, no cut. There's no space to put the feeder catalytic converter in it, so that's out of the question. And the one that we used to have, a normal standard exit, which is on the bottom here. And that one has two versions, with a catalytic converter or without the catalytic converter. So kind of 3 different exhaust setups. So today I'm finishing that. And today actually I've finished, after 2 years, over 2 years, all the production line setup, all the kind of factory to sales setup, everything is ready to be produced, mass produced, including the wiring looms. Wiring looms are a lot of people waiting for. We have, I think, 12 of them now. They have to go out. And actually yesterday, the last part arrived. You know, the pin that we waited so long, which they sent with the plugs, and it was wrong. We find the correct ones, they send them over. We had a massive bag of them. We probably have a stock for probably 100 wiring looms adapters, so we got them. I'm waiting for the more plugs. They'll arrive in this week or the beginning of the next week, so I'm hoping that by the end of the next week I'll be able to finish the rest of the wiring looms as well. So that's the end of it. After that, there's no more wasting time. There's no more, I'm sorry this took longer because I need to redesign this or make this more efficient, or finishing the wiring looms. Done. We finished with everything. The only pain in the ass that we have to be done very soon is we have to move the premises. So we're gonna be a few weeks out of, you know, business kind of. However, I am preparing everything, so hopefully I'm gonna have enough stock to cover that time. So if you order something in mid-time that we actually moving, it should be able to send you the parts, or at least the majority of it. So that's the plan. How it's gonna go, we see. But yeah, beginning of the next year, we got them done. The business is built. It's official, done. After end of next week, once I finish the wiring looms, we're gonna be cracking on this. This is gonna be a few videos are gonna show you exactly what we do, how we do it. This is gonna be a monster. Well, it is a monster already. VR6 turbo tracker. So this is on the way. And the moment I start working on this, I'll be working on this till it's actually finished. So it's not going to be long. So that's it. Good news from all the fronts. Regarding everything, we are golden, we are good. There's a lot of stress relief actually. It's been long journeys, lot of work, a lot of investment, time and money, but yeah, we're good, I'm really happy with this. And at the beginning of the new year, there's gonna be another big surprise. I'm gonna say nothing till it's finished, but that's a really good one. Anyways, this is, yeah, this is a lot. This is a lot. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I see you in the next one.